Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we turn corporate jargon into your next big investment insight. This year, UNIFI is asking for pretty much the same things as last year, but let's see if the numbers support it, okay? So before we dive in, if you're all about making smarter investment decisions by understanding the nitty-gritty of company reports, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And hey, if you want to discuss these filings with fellow investors, join our Discord community. It's linked in the description below. Alright, UNIFI is holding its 2025 annual meeting of shareholders this October, and they've sent out their usual proxy statement. This is basically a shareholder's guide to what's happening at the company and how to vote your shares. They're asking shareholders to vote on a few key things like electing directors, approving executive pay, and ratifying their auditor. The board has given a big thumbs up to all the proposals. That's pretty standard, but it's always good to see what management is recommending. They're asking you to vote for electing 8 directors who they believe are the best fit for the company. This is pretty typical for most companies. On the director front, they're proposing 8 people for election. These are the folks who oversee the company and make the big decisions. The filing gives us a quick rundown of who they are and their backgrounds. For example, we have Emma S. Battle, who's a CEO of a business services company, Market Vigor. Then there's Francis S. Blake, a retired bigwig from the Home Depot, Albert P. Carey, the executive chairman of UNIFI himself, and Edmund M. Ingle, the chief executive officer. We also have Kenneth G. Langon, a very long-serving director since way back in 1969, plus Suzanne M. Present, a principal at Gladwin Partners, Rhonda L. Ramlow, a business consultant, and Everett M. Ingle, the chief executive officer. We also have Kenneth G. Langon, a very long-serving director since way back in 1969, plus Suzanne M. Present, a principal at Gladwin Partners, Rhonda L. Ramlow, a business consultant, and Eva T. Slotnicka, a sustainable investing pro. The company believes each of these nominees brings valuable experience and skills to the board. Now, when we look at who owns a big chunk of UNIFI, Kenneth G. Langon holds a hefty 13.78%. That's a significant stake, and usually means he has a strong interest in how the company performs. Pinnacle Associates Limited also holds about 5.466%. Next up is that advisory vote to approve the compensation of the top executives. You know, the ones whose pay is detailed in those big tables. The company wants your say on pay, and last year shareholders seemed pretty happy with their pay decisions, with about 92% voting in favor. They're hoping for continued support this year. Diving into the compensation discussion and analysis, we see that UNIFI experienced some challenges in its Americas business segment in fiscal 2025. Despite some demand recovery and growth in their Central America operations, things like pricing pressures and lower manufacturing usage really hit their profits. To tackle this, they launched a strategic plan to streamline their operations in the Americas. This plan included closing and selling their Madison, North Carolina facility for about $45 million. That money went straight to paying down debt, which is a smart move to strengthen the company's financial health. Regarding executive pay, the company emphasizes a pay-for-performance model. They give out annual bonuses and long-term incentives like restricted stock units and performance share units. The idea here is to tie executive rewards directly to the company's success and shareholder value. For instance, the performance share units vest based on the company's financial performance over a 3-year period, directly linking pay to tangible results. Let's look at some of the numbers for the named executive officers, or NEOs. For 2025, Edmund M. Ingle, the CEO, had a total compensation of about $2.2 million. This breaks down into a salary of $77,500 and stock awards valued at $77,500 and stock awards valued at $77,520 City. Dolly will analyze the performance part further. Dolly's Albert Payfic Alban Ace E Oz Adersobits E $5,000 and stock awards. Overall, the compensation seems to align with their roles and the company's performance during that fiscal year, though we will analyze the performance part further. Now we get to something pretty important for the company's future. A proposal to amend their 2013 incentive compensation plan. They want to increase the number of company shares that can be used for these incentive awards by 1.24 million shares. This is a big deal because it ensures they have enough stock options and similar awards to attract and keep top talent. Without this added reserve, they might not be able to offer competitive compensation packages as the current pool is running low. Looking at the equity compensation plan information, as of June 2025, they have about 2,3669 shares available for future issuance, which already sounds like a lot, but as the filing points out, they're adding another 1.24 million shares. This brings the total available for future grants to over 3.2 million shares. That should provide enough flexibility for quite some time. This increase of 1.2 Fort at 0.0000000 shares is crucial for their strategy to use stock as a way to reward and retain employees. When you consider the total number of outstanding shares, this added reserve will increase potential dilution a bit, but it's a necessary step to stay competitive in the talent market. Finally, they're asking shareholders to ratify the appointment of KPMG LLP as their independent auditor for fiscal year 2026. KPMG has been their auditor since 2011, so it's a continuation of a long-standing relationship. In terms of fees paid to KPMG for fiscal 2025, the company spent about $1.4 million on audit fees and around $67,000 on tax services. These numbers are pretty standard for a company of UNIFI's size and scope. The audit committee rigorously reviews these services to ensure KPMG's independence. So what's the story here? UNIFI is navigating a tough economic landscape, especially in its Americas division. They're taking steps to streamline operations and improve their financial standing by selling off assets and paying down debt. Their executive compensation appears to be structured around performance, though the actual financial results in 2025 were challenging. The requested increase in share reserves for equity compensation shows a commitment to attracting and retaining talent, which is vital for executing their turnaround strategy. Looking at the financials, specifically the 2025 fiscal year presented a mixed bag. Despite a significant strategic move like selling the Madison facility, which brought in $45 million and was used to reduce debt, the company still reported a net loss. Their adjusted EBITDA was negative around $11.5 million. This indicates that while they are restructuring and aiming for efficiency, the core operations are still struggling to generate positive earnings. However, the fact that they are focused on strategic asset optimization and debt reduction is a positive sign for long-term stability. In my opinion, UNIFI is doing the right things to get back on track. They're making tough decisions to cut costs and improve their balance sheet, which is exactly what you want to see when a company is facing headwinds. The proposed increase in equity compensation is a good move to keep key people motivated. However, the financials from this year show that the turnaround is still a work in progress and they need to execute their plans perfectly to see an improvement in profitability. The market clearly recognizes this, with their share price reflecting the ongoing challenges. Alright, that's our breakdown of UNIFI's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.